A very good evening to the dignitaries on the dais and to everyone in the auditorium. I stand here today as a proud granddaughter of late Advocate Comrade Madan Phadnis, as I take this opportunity to present to you the glorious journey of Advocate Madan Phadnis' life of 86 years. A renowned labor lawyer, an amiable person, and a gentleman to the core, Madan Phadnis was popularly known as Comrade Madan amongst his hundreds of admirers. He was a trade unionist devoted to protecting working class interests and was thoroughly inspired by communist ideology. As India was gearing up for independence, only a few advocates opted for specialization in industrial disputes and labor laws. Madan Phadnis was one amongst them, who represented the working class and for whom money was never the consideration for his appearances and advocacy in courts. As we celebrate his birth centenary this September, I would like to share with you a few of his personal details too. Madan Phadnis was born on 23rd September 1923. He was the second child and the first son of Gajanan Dattatreya Phadnis and Saraswati Bai Gajanan Phadnis. His father was employed with the police department under the British rule, and his mother was a fairly educated woman at that time, giving Madan a very well-educated and cultural background to grow up in. Madan was born and schooled in the city of Kolhapur. Despite being from an economically middle-class household, his parents had always dreamt of success and fame for their first son. But as the struggle for Indian independence against the British was gaining pace in the early 40s, Madan decided to join hands in the freedom movement as soon as he completed his schooling, and for the time being did not pursue his graduation. Madan and his elder sister Prabha were very passionate about the Indian independence. While Prabha had dedicated herself thoroughly to the freedom movements, following his sister's footsteps, Madan too dedicated his time and effort to the same. Later on, even after India gained independence, Madan continued to engage in social and political work, sometimes fighting for the cause of the creation of the state of Maharashtra, or at times participating in various labor-related movements and reforms. Madan's maternal uncle, Advocate Comrade K.T. Suil, was an eminent labor lawyer and an esteemed member of the AAWI. He was a famous personality in politics at that time. That particular era witnessed excessive oppression of the labor-related policies by the government. Advocate Comrade K.T. Sule's communist ideologies appealed to Madan, and the political environment around him, which led to several social hardships for the labor class, which motivated Madan to dedicate all his potential and capabilities to the labor reform movements. Other members of his family included his brother-in-law Dr. A.B. Sawant, first cousin Advocate Maina Gawankar, and her husband Comrade Raghunandan Gawankar. These were the source of inspiration for Madan to join the Communist Party. Madan became a member of the party in November 1941, when the party was banned, with the major leaders either underground or detained. At the time, there was virtually no one to look after the trade unions' work. Madan was then sent to work in the Union Office of Textile Mill Workers in Parel, where he learned the basics of the trade union movement at the grassroots level. Thus, he had his stint in the textile trade union field in Parel, popularly known as Girandgaon at that time. Today, we are fortunate to celebrate his centenary function here in the Parel area, where Madan himself was groomed, and it is my pleasure to share his details with all of you who are studying labor law as of date. In 1942, Madan joined the government services in the Civil Supplies Department as a clerk first and was later promoted as an inspector. In the meantime, alongside his job, Madan had pursued his graduation in BA. A degree with a stable job made Madan a suitable bachelor. Inspired by his diligence and intellect, Madan's other maternal uncle, Advocate B.T. Sule, offered him his eldest daughter's hand in marriage. Vimal Sule, the young maiden, complimented Madan in all aspects, and the two strong-headed, like-minded individuals developed a liking for each other and tied the knot on 16th May 1948. While working for the Civil Supplies Department, Madan's attention was frequently diverted towards redressing the prevalent injustice for the mill workers in Mumbai. Madan was actively involved in the strike of the railway unions employees against the government, and was elected as the General Secretary of the GIP Railwaymen's Union. But apparently his government service landed in trouble and Madan had to face the repercussions. The then Home Minister of Bombay, Morarji Desai, called Madan for a diplomatic conversation, leading him to ultimately resign from his government job. Madan may have felt disheartened, but he had many projects in his mind for the betterment of the workers. So thereafter, he devoted all his time and energy to the labor movements. Madan's wife, now renamed Mangala Madan Phadnis, was strongly in support of her husband's political and social activities. This enabled Madan to not run after and secure another job immediately. Instead, he was able to dedicate his time in pursuing LLB, the degree in law. Due to his trade union related activities, as an arrest warrant was issued against Madan and he had to go underground for some time and was subsequently arrested and detained. His law graduation was delayed due to this detention and he completed his LLB in 1953, passed his Bar Council exam in 1954 and started his practice as a junior lawyer, assisting his idol maternal uncle, labor lawyer, Advocate Comrade K.T. Sule in several of his legal matters. Madan slowly and steadily set his foothold as a labor leader, or Kamgar Pudhari as we say, and earned a name and reputation for himself. Mangala was simultaneously doing her share of duties as a wife to support her beloved husband's ambitions. She wasn't discouraged by Madan's unemployment and herself decided to support the family financially. She pursued the Montessori teacher's training course after marriage and got herself a job as a teacher. But being the wife of Madan Phadnis, who was involved in political movements against the government, and being the niece of Advocate Comrade K.T. Sule, Mangala was soon fired because of this. Now Mangala did not apply for another job. She thought beyond her limits and established herself as an educationalist and a social worker in the upcoming years. With Mangala's father, Advocate B.T. Sule's guidance and support, In 1949, Mangala went on to establish the first Montessori school named Bal Vikas Mandir in the Thane district, which later she successfully ran as a full-fledged school for the next 4 decades. Madan had always encouraged educating the female section of the society, and he strongly supported his wife in all her endeavors throughout both their lives. In the decade of 1970s, Advocate Madan Phadnis had become the beacon for bringing justice to the labor unions in and around Mumbai. The unions had immense faith in him. He had utmost integrity, loyalty, and commitment towards his work, and was well informed and knowledgeable enough to present various types of case scenarios. He did not just fight for the mill workers or other industrial labor. Other incohesive groups of workers and various sectors were seeking legal aid and consultation to their legal queries from Madan. These included employees from semi-government organizations such as the National Railway Mazdoor Union, industrial firms, medical, pharmaceutical, insurance companies, the banking sector, airlines, mining, chemical firms, newspapers, press and media, doctors, medical professionals, lecturers, and professors. He also worked for renowned corporates like the Shipping Corporation of India and Hindustan Antibiotics. Madan selflessly worked day and night to fight for their causes. Madan was the president of the Greaves Cotton and Allied Companies Employees Union, which gave birth to the militant trade union struggle against their British employer. This union opposed the national emergency declared by the Congress government in 1975 to 1977. Madan had a long association with the movement of newspaper employees all over the country through All India Newspaper Employees Federation, which included membership from working journalists and non-journalists. He successfully secured victory after victory for them. Madan ably conducted several bonus disputes, and notable amongst them were the wage disputes of Crompton Greaves. He successfully fought Crompton retrenchment cases and brought back almost all the retrenched workers. For almost 5 decades, Madan guided and assisted unions in banking industries. His major contribution pertains to the struggle from 1973 to 1985 against rationalization and automation in Brindley's Bank and in the Reserve Bank to achieve better pay structure and service conditions for their employees. The Bombay University and College Teachers Union and the Maharashtra Federation of Universities and College Teachers organizations were associated with him for 24 years. It was extremely rare for a labor lawyer to litigate cases solely in the interest of workers, taking nominal fee and sometimes even donating the same to the labor unions in return. In today's legal world, this would be unthinkable and rare. Life is for giving something to others and not from taking from them was the motto of Madan's life, and without giving much thought to his ailments and ignoring the much needed rest, he lived his life of devotion and commitment to the labours. The labours and union personnel who have interacted with him have shown utmost regard for Madan always and have respectfully addressed him as Dada. Madan's success stories and his arena of work had reached beyond the boundaries of the city to Thane, Pune, Nashik, Baramati, Kolhapur, Solapur, Aurangabad, Nagpur, and beyond the limits of Maharashtra as well, to Gujarat, Bihar, West Bengal, Goa, South India. His name was recognized as a senior advocate by the Supreme Court of India, and he was appointed as by the Government of India to represent newspaper workers in various international conferences abroad. He was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award and given the title of Shrama Maharshi. Ladies and gentlemen, as Mrs. Mangala Madan Phadnis' life was short-lived, she died at the age of 69 in 1993. And this came as a sudden blow to Madan's life of journey uphill. But he managed to regain his strength only because of his one motivation, and that was to keep his fight on for the sake of thousands of workers who depended on him. They were his real lifeline, and he said that he must live up to their expectations. I will fight my cases till my last breath. Saying so, he rose from the dunes of sorrow and actively continued his practice. Battling many illnesses and ailments, he continued to work tenaciously till the end of his life at the age of 86. On 2nd March 2009, Madan Phadnis left for his heavenly abode. His funeral procession was attended by thousands of workers from various labor unions, and amidst the echo of salutations of Lal Salam to Comrade Madan Phadnis, his earthly remains were cremated. On his first Memorial Day in 2010, his fellow workers erected his statue near Pune in Nigri and created an eternal memorial in his honor. It has been 14 years since Madan Phadnis passed away, but his good deeds, his memories, and his glorious legacy still continues to live. As published in a book by AAWI, Anjali Rane Thakur describes him as a fountainhead of knowledge, of labor laws, and a legal luminary of industrial jurisprudence. This exceptional trade unionist was one of the best advocates. He has left behind a rich harvest of memories for young advocates like you all to draw inspiration from. We, the family members today, pay a heartfelt tribute to Advocate Comrade Madan Phadnis on his birth centenary this year. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on our family's behalf here. And a Lal Salam to Comrade Madan Phadnis. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving us an illustration into Comrade Madan Phadnis' life. We now move on and commence our lectures on labor laws and policies, a continuous evaluation process. Our first speaker of the day is Honorable Justice Satyaranjan Dharmadhikari sir, retired Judge of High Court of Judicature at Bombay. I take this opportunity to introduce sir. Mr. Satyaranjan Dharmadhikari sir completed his schooling from Nagpur and then shifted in Mumbai in 1978. Completed his graduation from Mumbai University in 1980, then joined Government Law College